Hi, so my name's Skye. I am a graduate of Bendigo Senior 2008, and I currently work as a doctor specialising in mental health. Results day was a bit stressful for me. I didn't quite get the mark that I had been hoping for. In fact, I got quite a bit lower, and the number one thing that I remember was a feeling of uncertainty. What does this mean for me? Neither of my parents did VCE. I was the first in my immediate family, so I didn't really have a framework to go off as to how important this mark was and what sort of impact it would have on the rest of my career. And at that point in time, it actually really felt like it did determine the rest of my career. Obviously, since then, I've discovered that it's really just a number, and it doesn't necessarily have to impact your career any more than you let it. But at that point in time, uncertainty was the big thing that I felt. A lot of things haven't gone to plan for me so far in my career, and I've actually learned to embrace it a little bit. I've discovered actually that there are a lot of opportunities out there that I didn't even know of. And if I'd actually had everything go to plan, I probably never would have taken them and I never would have ended up where I am. So I've sort of learned to take things as they come. When one door closes, a window opens, and you just climb through and see what's there. So I think it's really common at this time of year doing VCE to feel stressed, sometimes to feel burnt out, to be unsure, worried, whatever it is that you might be going through. And it's really important to know that if you do need supports, there are supports out there. The first place to think about going is to somebody that you trust. And sometimes just telling somebody that you're stressed actually helps you to feel a lot less stressed. If you need a little bit more support than that, though, or a lot more support than that, there are places that you can go to. One place is your GP. They're often a really good resource in terms of helping you to navigate what sorts of supports are out there. But that can be a bit intimidating for some people. Some people are a bit unsure about doing that. And if you need something that's a little bit more anonymous, there are lots of options. So there are websites such as Beyond Blue, Lifeline, and even the Kids Helpline. I know Kids Helpline sounds a little bit funny because it's got kid in the name, but they actually have a lot of resources for adolescents and young adults. And all of those websites have 24-hour numbers that you can call to get advice. And if you're a bit unsure actually even about talking on the phone about this issue, a lot of those numbers have SMS functions so that you can just send a text, email functions, or online chat functions as well. So there's lots of ways to reach out in sort of a more anonymous way if that's how you feel more comfortable. So a great place to get extra support if you're uncertain about career choices, if you're uncertain about how you're feeling, if you've got worries, stresses that you just want to talk to somebody about and you're not sure where to go, is the wellbeing officers at the school. They've got a wealth of knowledge and work with young people like you every year and help other young people navigate similar experiences and can be a really useful place to start looking for support. I think there's lots of reasons why young people doing VCE might be concerned about talking to their parents. Some people are worried that their parents might be angry at them. Some people don't necessarily feel like their parents understand what they're going through. Some people are just really ashamed, embarrassed, feel guilty, lots of emotions about telling somebody else that they're struggling. And all of those things are totally normal and actually really common. And I think what's important is to remember that the people in your life that love you will still love you, even if things aren't going as well for you at the moment. And a problem shared really is a problem halved. Telling somebody how you feel often does make you feel better. My top tip for year 12s is to remember that you can make your own opportunities. I think sometimes we fall into the trap of thinking that we have to do things in a conventional way, and that if we don't necessarily get accepted into a certain course or a certain program the first time, then that means we can't do what it is that we want to do. But that's actually not the case. You can always hand out your CV, even if someone's not hiring. You can always ask for work experience, even if you're not sure that they'll take you. The worst thing that could happen is that somebody says no. I think it's important to remember that it's okay to feel disappointed or even to feel upset. That's a normal thing that we all go through when we haven't quite gotten the result that we wanted. But I think it's about balancing that with the knowledge that this result really doesn't define you. It's really not a summary of who you are as a person. It's not a summary of how smart you are. It's not a summary of how capable you are. It's not a summary of what sort of career you can have. It's just a number. And so allowing yourself to go through that disappointment process is really natural and normal and fine, but just remembering in the back of your mind that this isn't forever. So I think, to me, resiliency is continuing to try, even if you don't think that you can do it, even if other people tell you that you can't do it. That last one's probably going to be quite common for you guys. It certainly was for me. There are lots of people out there who are ready to tell you that you can't do things that you want to do. And I think it's important to remember that actually those people are wrong, and they don't know you and they don't know what you're capable of. And like I mentioned before, you can create your own opportunities. And I think that that's what resiliency is all about. If you can't get in the front door, it is about climbing through the window. I think there are a lot of young people who have really hard expectations on themselves. And that was certainly my experience. I had a lot of expectations about what I needed to do and when I needed to do it in order to achieve the sort of career that I wanted to have. And I guess the message that I have for young people is that, you know, don't make the mistake that I made and spend all of this time being hard on yourself, because the expectations that we have are really just our own. And you really can have any sort of career with all sorts of wonderful and interesting pathways.